had no dignity. That's what I was missing. There was no dignity. It just looked like a man desperate for attention. And whenever DeSantis was scoring points on him, he would interrupt over and over to try to talk over the points as just that's like a middle school debate tactic, which is pathetic and not effective.
They were in a special session to figure out how to sue Trump while LA is burning. And meanwhile, Gavin's going out there all the time being like, well, boy, it'd be really terrible if Trump, withheld disaster aid, or heaven forbid, required that we, get our shit together. And then literally he's like, we're going to sue him for implementing the agenda he was elected on by a majority of the American people.
So it's just an MSNBC agenda. It's just a silly rich white liberal agenda.
Gavin Newsom has spent years parading as California's polished prince. But when Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson step in, the illusion detonates. Kelly slices his talking points to ribbons, while Tucker scorches him with mockery sharp enough to peel the shine right off his slick grin. What's left isn't a leader, it's a hollow mannequin in a designer suit, collapsing under the weight of real fire.
Gavin Newsom has decided to hire 2 young whippersnapper press people who look a lot like the Karine Jean-Pierre press pool. Like the people she was using in her press office, who look like these, weird hats and strange haircuts and like the Rainbow Coalition. So he's hired 2 of those folks to write his tweets, and here's an example of where it's going. His entire tweet feed has turned into imitations of what might be a Trump tweet.
Well, California announced it was going to ban all gas-powered vehicles, and a lot of people laugh because Gavin Newsom, who runs the state into the ground, is now a third world country, is a moron. Obviously, he just says whatever on the card. And of course, California doesn't have enough electricity to have electric cars. They can't keep the lights on. So how are they going to power the future of vehicles? Well, they're not.
Gavin Newsom is the perfect roast target because he struts around like he's untouchable. Every podium, every interview, every staged photo op, he sells himself as California's savior. But when Megyn Kelly rips into him, the mask comes off fast. Behind the Hollywood smile is a politician stumbling through lines he never learned, a man more obsessed with photo shoots than fixing the chaos on his own streets. His brand isn't leadership, it's a costume, and under Kelly's spotlight, the act unravels.
Newsom, he's a far left progressive, and Bill Maher just came out in favor of him. But he's the most radical Democrat in America. Honestly, his politics may be left of the squads. He would be a hard no. I don't care how good his hairline is. They're going to say no.
Tucker Carlson unloads with sarcasm so sharp it could strip chrome off steel. He paints Newsom as a politician auditioning for a role he'll never land. Style without substance, gestures without results. The man speaks like he's narrating a blockbuster trailer, but the story never starts. From homelessness to crime to crumbling infrastructure, every crisis is drowned in glossy speeches while real solutions vanish into thin air. Even California's housing nightmare proves it. The median home price has blasted past $800,000, double the national average, despite years of flashy bill signings and empty promises. And yet, Newsom keeps selling the image of a visionary leader. In reality, he governs like an influencer staging the perfect shot, polished backdrops, dramatic sound bites, endless self-praise. Megyn Kelly hammers him for treating California like a Hollywood set, posing as a savior while the state behind him falls apart.
It looks, forgive me, but it looks like a nuclear bomb hit the region. Just a huge swath of one of our most beautiful cities is gone. So all these politicians are done. They don't appear to know it, but Mayor Bass, your career's over. You're probably going to be recalled and kicked out of office. There's a change.com petition with over 100,000 signatures. She's going. I don't know if she knows that. Gavin Newsom, same. You're effed. Stop telling us about the embers in your hair.
Tucker Carlson rips into Newsom's hypocrisy, dragging out the French Laundry fiasco, maskless fine dining, while Californians were locked down and broke. For Tucker, it's the ultimate symbol of Newsom's rule. Rules for the people, luxury for himself. He blasts Newsom's housing bills as developer cash grabs, enriching donors while ordinary families get squeezed. Kelly drives it deeper, exposing a governor who preaches equity but governs like an elitist, leaving California overtaxed, unaffordable, and crumbling. In the end, they reduce Newsom to a captain giving pep talks while his ship sinks beneath him.
On Mount Rushmore, thank you, -GCN, with an image of Newsom on Mount Rushmore. Then there's a poster image of Kid Rock pointing like Uncle Sam. It reads, Kid Rock wants you to support Gavin Newsom. Captioned on X, I accept -GCN. Kid Rock, by the way, replied, saying the only support Gavin Newsom will ever get out of me is from D's nuts.
And then comes the arrogance. Newsom's ambition doesn't just peek through, it blares like a siren. He's not content with California. Every stage trip and polished TV hit screams future president. Kelly mocks the desperation, comparing him to a man rehearsing his victory speech in the mirror every night. Tucker piles on, saying Newsom assumes America actually wants California's brand of politics. Glossy, overproduced, and hollow. He quips that the governor spends more time on his hair than on policy. Kelly twists the blade, adding that Newsom looks more obsessed with his reflection than with the people he governs.
So Charlie's correct. He's hurting himself with his liberal base by doing these interviews of people like Charlie and Steve and Michael Savage. It's because the thing about Gavin Newsom is he's not very good at pushing back. So he's not going in there and doing battle with the Charlies and the Bannons of the world. He's somewhat obsequious, to be honest with you.
The sharpest blows land when Tucker Carlson exposes Newsom's allergy to accountability. Every crisis gets shoved onto someone else. Republicans, the economy, the weather, even the stars if he could get away with it. What he never does is admit his own fingerprints are all over California's decline. Tucker mocks it as Newsom's favorite trick, playing both victim and savior in the same breath, casting himself as the martyr while pretending to be the hero. Kelly drives the knife deeper, saying a leader who never owns failure isn't a leader at all. He's a salesman hawking a defective product, smiling as if charisma can cover the cracks. And then comes the hypocrisy that defines him. The infamous French laundry dinner resurfaces, the crown jewel of his double standards. While everyday Californians were trapped at home, losing jobs and being lectured to sacrifice, Newsom was maskless, sipping wine with lobbyists under crystal chandeliers. From there, the roast becomes a demolition. His housing bills? Nothing but gifts to developers fattening the same donors who keep him afloat. His speeches? Polished for the cameras, but hollow for the people. Newsom governs less like a public servant and more like an influencer staging photo ops, strutting with the arrogance of a man rehearsing for a presidency no one actually asked for. Tucker sneers that his hair gets more prep time than his policies. Kelly adds he seems more in love with his reflection than with the voters he swore to serve. And then there's California itself, the real punchline. Sky-high taxes, streets drowning in crime, blackout grids, homelessness exploding, and housing prices so outrageous families are fleeing in droves. Yet Newsom keeps bragging about his so-called paradise, selling a dream that looks more like a nightmare. Kelly ridicules him for mistaking charisma for competence, while Tucker compares him to a captain giving motivational speeches as his ship sinks beneath the waves. By the end, they've stripped every layer of the illusion. What's left isn't a bold visionary. It's a hollow mannequin in an Armani suit, an actor trapped in a role he can't play. Newsom's speeches stretch for miles, his excuses pile up like debris, but his results? Empty. Lifeless. Forgotten as soon as the camera's cut. So, in the final act, the curtain falls. Gavin Newsom isn't the future he claims to be. He's a movie trailer without a film, a performance without a script, a politician without substance. Slick, loud, overproduced, and completely hollow when the lights hit. Kelly and Tucker didn't just roast him, they burned down the entire set, leaving nothing but ashes where his image used to be. And if you thought this takedown was brutal, just wait. Because the next time Newsom struts onto a stage or fires up his podcast, you can bet the knives will be sharper, the punches harder, and the roast even hotter. Subscribe now and don't blink, because every time he opens his mouth, we'll be right here, turning his speeches into smoke.